This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Yes, let's get ready to rumble, and shout out to everyone who is tuned in wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, Pulse95Radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or if you're tuning in at home watching us live on YouTube and Instagram as well. What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And now we are going to be entertaining you for the hour on Pulse 95 Radio. By the way, can we also say a special thank you to everyone who's sent in their comments on the shows that we've had recently. We've had Kayla Barnes, who was the brain coach. That was amazing. We had Maria as well, Stevens, who was talking about Reiki with horses. We've had some really cool guests, so I'm very, very grateful. And actually, next week, it's show 300. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. Who would have thought someone like me would be doing 300 episodes for Pulse 95 Radio? Yeah, okay. Now, what would you do if you were a certain star who is currently under the spotlight? The best player in the world, arguably, has just joined your team. Your contract's about to run down. Do you stay and live that moment for the year and run down your contract, or do you transfer and leave to your dream club? Kylian Mbappe is on the menu today. We are talking all about Kylian Mbappe on the show. We're also talking about the health and fitness segment. Now, what's the latest craze? What are you addicted to? Is it the classes? Is it the trainers? Is it the facility? Or is it peace of mind? So we're talking about that today on the show. And yes, the Premier League is back. And it's back again, finally, for all the football fans. And we also have a halftime show, Pulse 95 Radio Fantasy Football League for you guys, which we will be running through this season with you. We had the winner on last year, and we've started a new one this year. And all this and more on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time. It's the halftime show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Right, okay. For those that don't know, Kylian Mbappe is one of the biggest superstars on the planet and happens to be a World Cup winner, a French superstar, and also playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world in Paris Saint-Germain. Now, PSG have recently signed Lionel Messi to add to their Galacticos, but the contract situation that Mbappe finds himself in is the following. Does he stay for one more year and run down his contract for free, or does he transfer to Real Madrid, the club that he loves and that he dreams of moving to? Now, that was before a certain Messi joined PSG with, of course, his best friend Neymar, and so that leaves him in a situation. The president, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, is obviously someone who means business and also has said that he is offering a contract, tabling to keep Kylian Mbappe at the club. Now, what do you do if you're Kylian Mbappe? Do you stay for one more year, run down your contract and probably annoy the president because you will go for free? Do you sign a contract with a release clause which keeps the president happy and also might price you out of moving to your dream club, which is Real Madrid? Or do you leave now and not play with Lionel Messi and move to La Liga? What do you do? Now, this is the breakdown of what's happening at the moment with PSG. It's been a circus. PSG have signed some incredible talent for free, may I add, and pretty much put together a project that is unbelievable, exceptional. I mean, I'm running out of words when it comes down to the lineup that's coming up. And of course, the Champions League is something that's on their minds. With Pochettino running the show, will he be able to deliver gold in the Champions League? Saying that, they couldn't even win the French league last season. So that's a lot of things happening in one go. There is still a couple of weeks till the transfer window shuts, and we've already started to see a little bit of movement happening across the border. Now, if Mbappe does not sign, then he will be able to go for free and still play the year. If he does sign, and he has to be careful, because as we see with a certain Harry Kane, who had a gentleman's agreement with his chairman Daniel Levy from Tottenham and is not able to force the move that he wants to Manchester City. So there's a lot of things happening in this transfer, and there's a lot of people who are wondering, what is Kylian Mbappe going to do? Is he going to stay and play with Lionel Messi and Neymar and Ramos and Donnarumma, oh boy, and Verratti and Di Maria and everyone else, or will he leave? That is the question on everyone's mind. Now, the idea with the situation, and I think now more than ever, people are realizing that the role of an agent, or who basically decides what the terms are, is super key. And that's one thing that we look at Kylian Mbappe and we think, what will he do? Now, he seems to be quite a level-headed guy. Obviously, he might have the world at his feet at times, but now Messi, the craze of Messi has come down to PSG, and that adds a different ball game to PSG in the way that they think. Nasser Al-Khelaifi, the chairman, is someone that runs a very shrewd business when it comes to PSG and has somehow managed to keep it under the FFP according to FIFA. But we also know his role with FIFA and how, being the European league coordinator or whatever role they've given him, to be able to stay on the board because he went against the Super League, keeps him in quite a healthy position. He also owns beIN Sports, which has massive rights to the leagues around the world. So there are certain factors here that says, you know, PSG are in good nick. Now, if they do let Mbappe go, here's another scenario which we've heard people linking another superstar to PSG, and that's Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, it's unreal, but who would have thought Messi would have joined PSG? And the way that Nasser Khalifi does run his ship, him and Leonardo will be looking at Cristiano Ronaldo at Juventus, having not been successful last year. And could they entice him to come towards them in PSG and unite Lionel Messi, Neymar, and Cristiano Ronaldo? Either way, it sets up something out of Football Manager, Championship Manager from my day, if you play that game. FIFA 21, whatever you want to call it. It creates this fantasy around bringing the best players around the world in one team. And here's where I'm looking at and thinking, could this actually happen? Could we actually have the dream team of dream teams? Have we ever seen a better front three? And if Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi wasn't mouth-watering, is it going to be Cristiano, Messi, and Neymar? And will we actually get a chance to see that? 4215 Itasalat, or do let me know. Can you imagine that happening? What do you think Mbappe is going to do? And can you see PSG winning the Champions League this year? We're going to take a quick break.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international and local. The health and fitness segment is something that has been very popular on the Halftime Show. I get a lot of questions and messages off air asking me about certain things, and I try to bring that to the surface and try to discuss it with you guys. And I have to say thank you very much for everyone who's always keeping me entertained on the Instagram live. Now, with the health and fitness segment, and Hani Bilqis was just in here now, and he was telling me he might be taking up something new in terms of a routine in the gym. But what's the latest craze? You know, we often get all these trends, and being in Sharjah, being in the UAE, we get a lot of different things that come up, and everyone goes, have you tried this? So for example, they might say, have you tried trampolining? And you go, well, what's that? And it's basically a bunch of trampolines and you're doing exercises on there. Then they'll say, have you tried aqua athletics? And you go, what's that? And they get you obviously in water doing athletics. Then you've got the calisthenics as well, which was a trend. Then you remember when CrossFit was trending, and then you've got people that just love running, like Florin, for example. But there's all these different things. But what I wanted to ask you guys is what is it that actually gets you to commit? Now, I don't mean 1 or 2 weeks. I mean commit for longer periods. So is it basically the gym? Is it the trainer? Is it the location? Some people just prefer convenience. Or is it the facility? And the reason why I asked that question is because out here in Sharjah, out here in the UAE, we're blessed to have so many different options to actually get us rolling. And I've obviously been in the industry for a while, so I've kind of seen the different types, and maybe even it's kind of harder to please because I understand the effects of the light, the sound, the reception, the first person you greet, the changing rooms, the cleanliness. where it's located, is there parking? All these things do come up, but what is it for you? Paddle tennis, actually, yes, Terry, is trending massively, and I know a few of my friends, a few local friends, are really, really into it. They're massively. They say, "Have you played paddle?" And I go, "Wow, okay." So they have it outdoor, they have it indoor, they have it even in the dark with neon lights everywhere. So it has been trending. Mustafa says going vegan is very trendy right now. Mustafa's gonna get me in trouble. Definitely gym buddies and gym other stuff, which I can't say on radio. But yes, that is correct. I think motivation is definitely something that people, get into. Florin is saying, it messes up my long runs on Saturdays when you don't come on the show. I'm typically at mile 9 by 7 a.m. So when I don't hear the show, my timing is off. You see what I mean? Can anyone be any more grateful than me when someone actually cares if the show is on or not? And yes, he is alluding to Saturday's show, which was recorded with Kayla Barnes, when we were talking about brain coach, biohacking, and the right nutrients to stimulate the brain. Very, very interesting, actually. Very cool profile, Kayla Barnes. So I had that. But yes, saying all that, what is it that is drawing you to your routine? Sometimes we suffer setbacks. Sometimes we get busy with the family. Work gets overloaded. But what is it that gets you back into the gym? Is it the classes? Is it the trainers? Is it the facility? Is it the location? Is it the convenience? There's so many different factors. And I see what I like here with the Pulse 95 radio family is everyone kind of does their own routine. Everyone kind of has something else. You got Monica, who you see her at the gym. You got Vikas, who's doing this thing. Obviously, Hannibal Khais, you see he works out like crazy. We might get him to do some boxing though soon. I definitely want to see what he's like. I just saw a short video of him now. I'll tell you one thing, guys, you're missing out. You're missing out on Hani with his boxing skills. Definitely does some damage to that bag. And then you've got also RR, who's in the back here. And he does this thing sometimes in the gym. He comes in and he goes, bro, I worked out and I feel good, like looking like a snack. That's but yeah, there's so many different factors. I know for a fact that I'm very, very blessed to be working with different types of clients and people, and there's so many different things that sometimes they inspire me, so they motivate me. Let's say Spicy, for example, he's someone that no matter what's hit him, no matter what's come up, what setbacks, he's always fought back and he's looking great at the moment. So shout out to Spicy, who's doing his thing in the fitness world. But let me know, what are you addicted to? What keeps you going in the gym? 4215 Itasalat or slide into my DMs at Omar Duri while we take a break. Masego and FKJ Tadao. Oh my God, this tune will get you in the mood. Here you go.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. We're feeling the vibes today here at the studio on Pulse 95 Radio in the heart of Sharjah, and we're having a good time. And thank you for everyone who is tuned in. Mustafa, Ayman, Benoit, Florin, Fahad, Rashid, Sarah, Terry, Tariq, Fahad. Who else have I got here? Oh boy, Ray, of course, and of course Hannibal Khais as well, who's doing it big here on the Halftime Show. Right, okay, so shout out to Maria as well, who's just jumped into the room. Okay, favorite part. So what we were talking about actually off air, me and Omnia, is obviously next week on Wednesday it's going to be the 300th show. But a big part of the show has been you guys, and it's been the fact that you guys have kept me entertained and interacted with me throughout the show with opinions, ideas, questions, all sorts of good stuff. So what we're going to do on this Wednesday, which is a week before the 300th, is we're going to get you on the Instagram Live and record you on there to actually show the people what kind of amazing audience we have and listener we have on the show. Right, okay, the Premier League is back, and yes, Manchester United fans have a right to feel a bit smug. Like Rashid, who's saying, let's talk about Man United, let's talk about Arsenal, because he knows that the host of the Halftime Show, unfortunately, is a loyal Arsenal fan. Now, for those that have been watching the Premier League, this week was full of action. Everyone was waiting for it to come back, and it did come back. It came back in fashion with fans in the stadiums, and it kicked off with Brentford versus Arsenal. So depressed. What up, Mikey? Big man in the building. Okay, so Brentford versus Arsenal, the fairy tale story. Brentford, obviously, being newly promoted, joining the Premier League. They beat Arsenal 2-0. Suspect of the second goal, but I have to say Brentford deserved the win, and it just highlights the cracks that is in the Arsenal empire at the moment. Manchester United went up against Leeds and absolutely demolished them 5-1, which was great, and that was without Jadon Sancho, who came on as a sub later on when the game was already done. But this is the thing about the Premier League now being back. We finally have to see how all these teams handle pressure, and will they perform the same way they did last year without the fans? Talks about Manchester City, talks about Chelsea. Lukaku joining Chelsea. Harry Kane is on his way to Manchester City. Jack Grealish plays for Manchester City, but yet Tottenham still win through Son. And I said this before, by the way, if City really wanted to get someone who can play the false number 9 and play one of the front three, Son would have been your guy, but he signed a new contract and Harry Kane wasn't even at the stadium, raising more questions on whether he is still a part of Tottenham's plans. But saying that, and yes, Florin, Arsenal were woeful. I agree with you, Florin. Finally, a decent United fan. No offense, Spicy. Florin says, it was one game. United fans need to chill. I think it's just the manner in which United absolutely demolished Leeds. I'm a big fan of Bielsa's, and they did lose 6-2 last year, but surely playing at Old Trafford, first game back with the fans, a more cautious approach probably wouldn't have ended up in 5-1. When people forgetting that Luke Ayling scored a cracker to equalise, but Paul Pogba with 4 assists, and we will be talking about the Fantasy Premier League a bit later on. Paul Pogba with 4 assists, Bruno Fernandes with the hat-trick, Fred with an extra goal as well. That's when you know Leeds just, yeah. But saying that, I'm just glad to see the Premier League is back. Chelsea flawless against Crystal Palace, with Patrick Vieira making his debut for Crystal Palace. Everton coming back to beat Southampton 3-1. Very interested to see Rafa Benitez and how he does. I'm so glad there was a good reception for him, because he has been all around the world and managed some of the biggest teams. Liverpool with a flawless victory against Norwich 3-0. Watford 3-2. But I think the entertaining game of the weekend has to be West Ham versus Newcastle, who turned it around 4-2 with a missed penalty, and really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this Premier League. Now, we're talking about that, and we're seeing a lot of people say who are going to win the Premier League. Is it going to be Liverpool? Is it going to be Manchester City? Is it going to be Manchester United? Is it going to be Chelsea? How is it looking? The next round of fixtures will be on Saturday the 21st, and that will be Liverpool versus Burnley at Anfield, Villa versus Newcastle. That should be interesting. Crystal Palace and Brentford, Leeds and Everton. That should be about 10-8. Man City versus Norwich. Will Harry Kane be playing against Norwich in that game? For Manchester City, Brighton versus Watford. And then on Sunday, we got some crackers. Southampton versus United, Wolves versus Spurs, Arsenal versus Chelsea. And then on Monday, the last game of that week will be West Ham versus Leicester. But what do you guys think is going to happen? Text me on 4215 Itasalat Urdu. Who is going to win the Premier League? It's massive. It's back. We've finally got football with fans, and I'm so excited to be able to watch football with real fans. I hated those sounds, man. I really couldn't stand the stadium echo and sounds, and then the ball would go out, and then 10 seconds later someone cheers. Oh, that was killing me. But saying that, we've got a whole league to look at. Where it's kind of early to say. I like what Florence said, and shout out to my bro Dre, who's across the world, and he went to see Neymar and Messi. We just want to see Neymar and Messi together now, he's saying, which, yes, I was talking about that earlier. The question I had for you today, if you were Kylian Mbappe, would you leave PSG now and go to Real Madrid and be the main man there? Would you run out your contract and risk the wrath of Nasser Khalifi, the chairman of PSG? Or would you sign a contract and whack a release clause on there so you can leave later on? What would you do? It's going to be crazy, I'm telling you. Football is back. The Premier League is back. Messi is back. He came on just to be unveiled the other day without kicking a ball, and he still had a crowd watching him. I think people forget that Ramos joined, Donnarumma joined, Gigi Wijnaldum, Hakimi. Everyone just ignored what's happening with that. But Florence seems to think, and Rashid seems to think that United will win the league this year. What do you think? Text me on 4215 or slide into my DMs at Omar Duri. That's the Premier League segment. Coming up next, after we play some wicked Mike Lowry, we are going to talk about the Halftime Show Pulse 95 Fantasy Football League that's happening this season. The winner gets to come on the show at the end of the season. Can't wait for that. Here you go, Mike Lowry, brand new. Let's do this.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is the Halftime Show with Omar Duri on Pulse 95 Radio. Now, hey, listen, we're talking a couple of things now. We've got Rashid asking a question here. I read an article that says PSG are ready to give Pogba 600k a week next season. Your thoughts? I don't think PSG need Pogba, with all due respect to Pogba. He was outstanding on the weekend and showing glimpses of the money invested in him and the world-class label we've often heard him. The way that he exposed the other team was phenomenal on Saturday. But I don't think that's what they need. I think superstars are born, and I think the player that's on everyone's lips at the moment now is Haaland. Haaland is someone, as we saw his first game back for Dortmund, is a machine. And watching him will be very interesting to see where he goes next year, because as we know, he will transfer next year. But the question is, where will he go? That's the big question. Masoud is saying 300 episodes in the way, it's fire. Thank you very much, Masoud. Yes, a week on Wednesday will be the 300th episode on the Halftime Show. I have to give you a special thank you to everyone who has tuned in, who has come on the show, who has given their opinions and feedback and done great things. This Wednesday at 3:30, we will be recording your my Instagram live at Omar Duri. With your comments, and hopefully I'll put that on my socials to thank you guys as well for that. And saying that, we have a fantasy football league on Pulse 95 Radio Halftime Show, and last year Tashreeq, who's just joined us in the room now, has actually won the league last year, and he actually did very well this year. Seeing his points tally, the stars of the show this week were obviously Bruno Fernandes, who is at 12.1 million and selected by 55.4%. He got 20 points this week. So anyone that triple captained him would be flying. Mohamed Salah got 17. Paul Pogba got 16. Alonso got 15. Chalobah, what a moment for the youngster to be able to score on his first game for Chelsea. He was about to go out on loan. I'm not sure if they'll loan him out now. Antonio got 13. Pereira got 12. Ben Rama got 12. But it was a big week this week for fantasy football lovers, because there is this thing about fantasy football, for those that don't know. I think it's the banter. I think it's the fun that you get to have with your mates, your family. We play it at home as well. We have a little mini fantasy football league at home between Yassine, Maria, and I. And you always see, even Yassine, who says, yeah, I'm not, it's not that bad. He's bad. He's piercing in and out of the room. He knows the scores. He knows what's going on. And he plays it down like, yeah, I'm not really interested. He's interested. My barber, he's interested. It goes around to showing that how sport can unite people. And I think that's kind of like the fun part about fantasy football. And this year, I've had a few people DM me and say, you got to do a fantasy football league. I said that we've already done one last year. We're going to do it again this year. And say, well, why don't you give us tips on who to bring in and who to bring out? Well, I'm the best person at giving the advice. Do I follow my own advice? Absolutely not. That's why I never finish top of my leagues. I always give the best advice, but don't actually follow my own advice here. But yes, who will you be? Have you joined the Pulse 95 Radio Halftime Show Fantasy Football League? If you haven't, I will leave it in my story at Omar Duri on Instagram to get you guys in. I think there's about 50 people in there at the moment. It's only been week 1, so that's pretty good for that. Let's see. Rashid is saying Haaland to United next season. Oh God, I hope not. Mr. TDXB just joined in the room as well. And Masoud is saying, I'm a bit sick right now, but will try my best way possible to tune in live. Happy to be a listener on the Halftime Show. Oh, bless, man. I hope you feel better, Masoud, and thank you very much for tuning in. Rashid is sending a question, and he's saying, should I keep Harry Kane? It's a big risk to be bringing in Harry Kane when we don't know where he's going to play. But judging from what Tottenham have said yesterday, they're not going to play about with him until they know where his future is, and he wasn't even at the stadium yesterday. So Rashid, that's probably a differential, although you told me the percentage was high on Harry Kane. Tashreeq is the fantasy football Pulse 95 radio halftime show champion of last year, so maybe he's the best person to ask about that. But he had a great week this week. Right, we are reaching full time on the halftime show. Hope you've enjoyed as much as I have, and I will see you back on Wednesday. Remember, on Wednesday at 3:30 I'll be screen recording the halftime show, thanks to Omnia's great idea to post on my channels. So make sure you tune in, log into your Instagram live, and tell me what you think of the halftime show, and I will be posting it at 3:30 on Wednesday. That's full time. I'm out. Coming up next is the afternoon Karak with Mikhail Hatay and Aisha Al-Mazmi. Here's some Davido, Fall. Love this tune. I will see you guys very, very soon.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.